Alrighty. We got a real fucking early one today because I am well over my 40 hours a week already. I did, let's see, 3 12-hour days in a row, minus 1.5 hour for a day of training, plus 3 hours. So what? 36, 39, 37 and a half hours before I started my workday today. I'm leaving now at 9:30. I got here at 5:30, so I am already 41 hours, and I still got meetings at 13 and 15, so hitting like 45 hours this week. So because of that, I am headed the fuck home from 9:30 to 13 and taking a big ass fucking break, going grocery shopping, training, shower, walk the dog, get all that stuff done. Hopefully have time for homework. I left the office at 8:45 and I got pulled into parking lot conversation that would not end until 9:35 when I finally just pulled up my keys and said I've got to go. So that was a little bit of a delay in my plans and my hope to already be done grocery shopping by this point and having all that time to work on my group project. But alas, here we are. So big old break today, come back later, meeting 1, meeting 2, done for the week. Really not much this weekend. Started planning out for nationals. Oh my god. This thing is fucking sucking recently. What the hell? I'm gonna be just looking at this thing every 5 seconds. I need a better setup. Cause that's getting really, really annoying on it not staying put. And I don't know how to fix it. It doesn't tighten up any more than it already is. But going through today. So I've recently really started hating the idea of progressions. So starting out lifting, whether it be weightlifting or just lifting weights in general, everyone has this idea of you have to have some sort of progression. Whether like CrossFit, you'll go from like a body weight squat to a goblet squat to a front squat to a back squat, something like that, to an overhead squat, let's say. Or if you're doing plyometrics, there's people fucking say you gotta squat double body weight before you do a depth drop. That's not really progression, that's just gatekeeping and fucking stupid. But the idea of progression, or like in weightlifting, let's say you go from a power snatch from the hip, power plus snatch pull, or then like power snatch from the floor, full snatch from the knees, snatch, some sort of progression, just building, hey, we have to hit point A before B, and then B before C, C before D, and now we have finished our progression and everything is fixed, problem is solved. I have now come onto the camp that I really don't like any of that as just the idea itself, and while I do some progressions, the idea behind the progression is bullshit. So, the biggest problem I have with the idea of progressions is progression implies that learning is linear. That you will have this upward, just directly straight from bottom left to top right, straight line path up in learning. So you'll go from point A, where you learn to do one thing. Point B builds off of that, you learn the next. Point C builds off that, you learn the next. Point D, you build off that, and now you have the whole picture all put together. The only issue with that is learning is not linear. Especially when we talk about learning in the context of motor development and skill acquisition, learning is not linear. So there's going to be plenty of times, like if you look in the research or if you even just learn a sport by yourself, there are going to be times where, like, everyone's felt this in fucking weightlifting before, where you go through like 2 weeks, everything feels like shit, nothing's clicking. Boom, week 3, something just finally clicks. That's not fucking linear. You have a lot of stages of plateau followed by a big spike. Lots of plateau, maybe even some decrease, big spike. Lots of plateau, big spike. Learning is not a linear progression. There are going to be lots of times of stagnation followed by a short period of rapid increase. So I'm reading the book right now, How We Learn to Move by Rob Gray, and he talks all about this, and that's where I had started out at a while ago, read the book, and now it's kind of putting the pieces together with a little bit more science and the research behind it. But learning does not happen like that. Like, honestly, if we look at any of the studies on motor learning, progressions do not work as well as variable teaching. So whether you go through like a specific drill, then this drill, then this drill, is actually less effective than doing drill A, then drill C, then drill D, then drill F, and back and forth like that, and having the variability. The variability of learning actually helps us learn a lot more rather than a set in stone, very structured, very rigid progressional approach. So all of that comes back to that progression is not linear. So saying that we have to do A, then B, then C, then D to finish this progression, that you cannot do D without the skills that you would learn in A, B, and C, is just flawed. That is not true. We have the research now to back that up, and we have plenty of anecdote to back that up as well. It is not just one straight path up to the top right. It is tons of times of up, down, stagnation, and just going on and on from there. So we cannot follow this progressional approach because that just is not how learning works. Sure, we can still do it, and there are plenty of times where I have had, okay, we're going to do A, then B, then C, and like I have a plan to it, but it is not like a progression where, I had to cut someone off there a tiny bit, but it's not progressional like there where we are doing A before we can do B, before we can do C. We're doing, all right, this is the issue A. Here we go. This is what we're doing. All right, we go a couple weeks, we practice with that. All right, cool. We have now developed that skill, or we're better at that. Now we have a new problem. All right, focus on this. So not having this progressional structure where you have to do A, then B, then C, but you should still at least have a plan. But at the end of the day, it really comes back to motor learning and skill acquisition is not a linear progress. There is going to be times of long duration stagnation and times of very rapid progression. That structure of how our body actually learns new movements does not fit with this progression model of A, then B, then C. That is just not how it works out. And if we keep continuing to try to force that square peg to fit in the round hole, that is simply just not going to work out, and you're going to have athletes who are upset, who are frustrated because they're not getting the progress because you are trying to teach them skill acquisition through a flawed lens that has since been refuted. Yeah, that's basically it.